Good morning, Stampers. My name is Juanette, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United States. Today, I'm going to be showing you a little shaker card using the Peaceful Poppies suite. And in this card, I'm also going to show you how a card evolves sometimes and how you completely change the look of it after you've put it aside for a while. Now this is the final card and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. You can see it does have a little shaker element to it. There's a lot of dimension with it. The inside uses an inlay die technique and I used Stella on it to make it shimmery. The back is my standard way I do all of my cards with my logo on it, but I do like this new Crafting Forever stamp that I just recently bought, in which it has the Stampin' Up! Logo that you can stamp on your card. I hope you enjoy this video tutorial, and if there's anything I can do to help you make this card, please leave me a question in the comment section. So this is the suite that I'm going to be using, and what I love about the new mini catalog is they have the colors that are with the designer series paper printed there, as opposed to just having the names of them, so you can take a quick look and see exactly what the colors are in the designer series paper. Now in this suite there are 2 stamp sets and 2 die sets, and I used the Painted Poppies stamp set and the Peaceful Moments die set. Now you can see that the images can be die cut using 2 different colors of cardstock, and here I used Mossy Meadow and Old Olive and then layered them. There are 2 different kinds of leaves. Then there's a large poppy with the outline die and then the inner die. And you can see that I die cut that about 8 times and glued it together because I wanted to make a shaker card, but I wasn't going to be able to use any kind of dimensionals or adhesive strips to give me that dimension. This is the small poppy there. I also cut these out 8 times and then glued them together to give them a lot of dimension. The acetate is already glued to the back of them, and then I will fill them with the Peaceful Poppies sequins. Now in my last video tutorial, I showed you how to use vellum and make a curtain. And this is the process for it. You take vellum, however long of a piece you want. You take your Embossing Buddy and remove the static from it, then your Versamark ink, and stamp whatever image you want to be the background of your curtain. Then you take white embossing powder and heat set that on your vellum, making sure not to keep the heat tool on there too long, otherwise it could burn. Now that stamp set is part of the celebration that is going on right now, and you can receive that stamp set free. and you receive that stamp set free with a $50 purchase. Make sure that you don't heat your vellum for very long, otherwise it has the potential for burning. Then I took the Good Morning Magnolia die and cut the bottom of the curtain, the vellum, so that it would have a scalloped edge. And then to be able to manipulate the vellum, you will take it, place it in some water just to make it more pliable. And it doesn't have to be warm water, it can just be tepid water. You remove it, place it on a paper towel, and then you're able to fold your vellum like you would for a curtain or drapery. Then you're going to take it, dry it on a paper towel, unfolded it just a little bit, and set it aside to dry. So now we're going to start working on the card base. So it is a 10 by 7 inch base, and I did cut off about 1/8 of an inch on the top and sides. That way it will fit into a 5 by 7 envelope easily. Then fold it in half and burnish it. Then the white piece there is 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, and I took the stitched rectangle dies, the largest one, and placed it so that I would have about 1/4 inch at the top and both sides of that panel. Then the Designer Series paper measures 4 3/4 by 1 inch. And that will go on the bottom of that panel. So like I said, I did die cut the Poppie out, applied fine tip liquid glue to it, and adhered the acetate onto the back of all those layers. Then I take one of the other die cuts and lay it over the acetate so that it covers the edges. And then I will have something nice to lay that middle part of the flower on. And I did that both on the large Poppie and the smaller Poppie, laying a stamping block over it to help it dry. Now you see I have 2 of the smaller Poppies there, however I only ended up using 1 of them. That is basic black cardstock that I die cut the center out of the Poppies. And that's Flirty Flamingo that the outside of the Poppie is die cut in. Then I turned it over so that the acetate is closer to the table top there, added a few sequins, and then took a die cut piece of the Poppie Parade and glued it to the back of that so that it would keep those Poppies sealed in between the cardstock and the acetate. And I did that on both of those. Then I took the Itty Bitty Greeting stamp set, a little hello, put some Versamark ink on the back of that stamp, stamped it on a piece of basic black cardstock, added white embossing powder to it, and then heat set that to melt it. And that's about a 1/4 inch long piece, or excuse me, a 1/4 inch width, and the length doesn't really matter. I think it's about 3 or 4 inches because I will be trimming that off. These are some more dies that are in the set, in which you have small little buds of poppies. And so I also die cut some of those out in both the Poppie Parade and the Flirty Flamingo and added the leaves to them. Now my curtain was a little bit too long, so I just take a pair of paper snips and trim it off. Then I took some of our foam adhesive strips and laid them on the back of that white panel so that it would raise it up and give the card some dimension. So I just remove the top part of the backing of the foam adhesive strips and folded it down because all I want to attach at this point is the top of the curtain. And just kind of open up that curtain there and lay it down over the foam adhesive strips. Turn it over and trim off any that is hanging over the side. I went ahead and adhered that designer series paper again, which is 4 3/4 inch by 1 inch to the bottom of that white layer. And now I'm starting to figure out where I want my poppies on the front of my card and the leaves. I'm adhering them with liquid glue. And now is the perfect time to become a demonstrator with Stampin' Up, because with a $99 kit order, you actually get $125 worth of product. Then you get another free stamp set of your choosing. You get a mini paper trimmer, and you get a package of 6x6 designer series paper. All of that for $99. If you're interested in becoming a demonstrator, and that doesn't mean you have to demonstrate, it just means you are a savvy shopper and would like a 20% discount on all your future products. Contact me at juanettehewitt.stampinup.net or juanettehewitt@gmail.com. I would love to have you as part of my team. So now I am adjusting to see where I want that large poppy, because I don't want it to be able to be caught between that left side of that frame. So I glue it down, but then I notice with the frame it was touching it a little bit, so I had to move it over slightly. And that is one of the best things about using liquid glue. It does give you a little bit of time to be able to move your image down or over a little bit before it adheres completely. Then I'm adding a little bit of those few poppy buds around the larger poppy. So then I remove the adhesive strips from the rest of the back of that panel, add a little bit of liquid glue over the top of it where that curtain is, made out of vellum, and adhere that to the front of my card. Now in the end, I end up removing all of that vellum curtain because I didn't like the way it looked. And in the final pictures, you will see that. So then I took my strip of basic black cardstock in which I had heat embossed a little hello sentiment on it and adhered it over that designer series paper, turned it over, and trimmed off the excess. I felt it needed a little bit of white in there, so I took some of our pearls and added 3 of them on the front of the card there. And you can see in the final card, I ended up taking 1/8 strips of designer series paper and added them to the top and sides of the card because I felt that that white border was just a little bit too much. Thank you so much for joining me at my YouTube channel, Juanette's Paper Crafts. If you enjoy this tutorial, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and press the notification bell so you will know when future videos are uploaded. I hope you had a wonderful holiday and a good new year. I've got many projects spinning around in my head for the new year, and I look forward to bringing them to you. Goodbye.